anyone with lungs can get lung cancer.
These people are fighting. It makes you want to fight that much harder.
She said, I don't want to die because I did nothing.
There is still hope.
And we believe there's an answer for everyone if you look far enough.
The reaction to a cancer diagnosis is a personal one. Initial feelings of dread and hopelessness are the two emotions that often flood the minds of those who are told they have one of the deadliest diseases, lung cancer. Hank Baskett was given this diagnosis 10 years ago. His reaction was not of himself, though. It was how he was going to tell his family. He grappled with the challenge of finding the right words that would convince them that he was full of hope and determination despite the desperate diagnosis. In time, he prayed through his example that his family would find strength as he made his long cancer journey, in his words, a joyful journey.
Hank went to the emergency room. I had a doctor's appointment. He rode along because he thought he had bronchitis. And he was waiting, and I says, if they get you straightened out, and he said, no, I think I've got cancer. We were going home that afternoon, and Hank told me, he said, I can live with this. He said, I know I can handle it. He said, I just don't know how I'm going to tell my family.
We drove 90 miles, and I came home, and I sat down. Judy came home, sat down, and I said, I got some news to tell you. And I told him, I said, the doctor said I had lung cancer. It was pretty bad. I do not ever want to see that look again. I hope to never have to see that look on my wife's face again. That was April the 11th, 2011. And they gave me an appointment, I think it was May the 25th. So I had almost a month and a half before I could get in and see don't know whether I'm going to see a cancer specialist, another doctor. The foundation, the Bonagio Dario Foundation. She recommended me to go talk to another specialist, lung cancer specialist, up in Colorado, Dr. Kamich. They opened the doors for the right treatment, but they opened their doors to their hearts. Mm-hmm. That's the best thing. It's about keeping someone else from having to go through what I went through. The answer's inside me. I'm sitting here today. I'm talking today.
He's never stumbled. I mean, he has gone forward, and he said, I'm not worried about it. He said, I gave it to God. I'm fine. And anybody that can do that, and I'm proud to call him my friend. That's right.
I'm a soldier. I'm a chief right now. I'm gonna move up maybe a general. I don't know what I want to be a general. I'll just be a chief.
I want to introduce you now to Mr. and Mrs. Hank Baskett. How are you? Thank you for joining me. His wife Judy is with us, and his son, Lil Hank, is here with us as well. Judy, what was it like for you hearing those words? What was that like to hear that from your husband, that he had cancer?
Horrible. No other word. I just knew it was the end of the world.
Oh, wow. You have a strong connection with these men. You have a strong connection with your family. You know when things are good, when things are bad. You said just by their voice. How did your husband's upbeat attitude keep you strong, even through, you're probably reading about things and you're looking at him and saying, how is this man staying so strong? How did that affect you?
Well, like I say, you got to have faith. And I knew that if we fight, we can make it. Mm-hmm. We'll win. We've had 10 years that we didn't think we were going to have.
Hank, you are described as one of the most positive persons on this planet. And I want to say, in Ms. Adario's book, you just pop out of the page. I didn't even need to see that picture, but that picture is great. I think I'm going to frame it for my house. It's beautiful. And by the end of the show, you're going to have our entire audience convinced that you are indeed the most positive person around. I'm sure of that. But I want to start off with asking, how did you stay positive when you heard those 3 words, you have cancer?
I felt that I had had a death sentence, but would have kept me going. Those boys, my family, my friends, you know, I don't know whether you can find a deeper love or whatever for the people close to me and not close to me. I see people, I say, I love you. I'll be walking, go to the store or something like that. And I have some people say, well, you said you love me. I said, I do. And somebody asked me one time, what if they don't love you back? You have no control of that. I'm having a hard time controlling my love.
That's right.
So why should I worry about whether you love me or not? I'm still going to love you.
You're helping me with this interview, Mr. Hank, because I read that you will meet people in the store. You ask them how their day is going. You know, you just said that you don't waste time. You tell people that you love them. And I read that you said that your cancer journey is about being joyful. And that sounds so contradictory. How was it a joyful journey for you? How have you turned it into a joyful journey?
I can answer that for you.
Oh, wow. Please.
I can answer that one easy for you because Pop's goal in life is to meet every person on this planet and tell him he loves them. And fortunately, but unfortunately, through his journeys with cancer, that's given him a platform to meet more people. So when he's going and doing these events and speaking at these things, that's his chance to talk to more people. He's like, man, I should have got cancer about 20 years ago. But seriously, that's the way Pop is. And here's the thing. There are so many people that Pop has met along his journey that would never know he had cancer and the type of cancer he has. And that is just the human being he is.
I want to take it back to the beginning because it was a special meeting with Bonnie Adario. If you can take us back, Big Hank, to, I read that you were diagnosed, you weren't getting the right treatment. Take our audience back to that story and how this relationship just totally changed your journey, if you don't mind.
Well, I was invited by Little Hank to L.A. He was putting on a celebrity charity golf tournament, and the proceeds, I found out later, was going to donate to the Bonnie Adario Lung Cancer Foundation. That's the first I ever heard of that lady. Never met her and everything. But so Judy and I, we flew out there, and for the tournament, Hank introduced everybody and what he was doing, and he told them, and I got to meet Bonnie.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about Bonnie. Some of our audience may not be aware that Bonnie Adario herself is a lung cancer survivor, and she has dedicated her life, coming from the corporate oil world, she decided to dedicate her life to finding a solution for lung cancer because, as you now know, Baskett family, lung cancer is the biggest threat to some of our lives. It's bigger than breast cancer. The cases that we have are bigger than breast cancer, bigger than colon cancer, and people still aren't aware of how serious it is. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of this sort of kismet moment that you had with Bonnie Adario and who she is and what she's doing for people like you and people all over the nation. Yeah.
When I met her, she came up to me. We was out there, and she came up. She stopped. Hank introduced me, and she stuck her hand out, and I stuck these big arms out and put them around her, and I just hugged her. And it was just, it was such a feeling. And she looked up and she said, I said, I'm Hank's father. I'm Big Hank. And she looked up is a big hug. That's where I get that name from, the big hug. She named me the big hug.
That's right. That's right.
And I said, well, if I'm the big hug, you're the little hug. And it started right there. And she watched me all the time that evening. She kept watching. And then at the end of the tournament, when everything was going on, she pulled me to the side. She said, she went through a whole bunch of that medical, whatever, that stuff, you know, and I told her my story.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I don't think you've received the right diagnosis.
That's amazing. So this woman, Bonnie J. Adario, who has this foundation that is working to put really the stamp on how serious lung cancer is, reached out to you. That's amazing, because it seems as a family, you were really looking to find the right treatment, because it's my understanding, and I think it's important that our audience is aware that, you know, you were being treated, but there was something about the treatment. Tell us about that first treatment. It wasn't quite right. It wasn't quite right. Explain to us how the Bonnie J. Adario Foundation helped you find the treatment that eventually helped you.
To get in with Bonnie was that Hank found that foundation, which is now the go-to foundation.
They found me.
Okay.
That's what's awesome.
Okay,
they found me.
Hank's, you know. And we had the tournament. Bonnie, I got to meet her, the little hug, the big, and she looked at me, and she said, "Mr. Baskett, I've been looking at you."
Come on, come on.
She was saying she saw something.
Yes.
About, I don't know, my eyes, my polyp, whatever. She was saying something, and she said, as I told her what I'd been through, she said, Mr. Baskett, I don't think you got the right diagnosis.
That is amazing.
Things happen for a reason. They happen for a reason.
And the time, your timing is perfect. And she saw how I looked, and I thought I looked pretty good. I still do, you know.
Pop, you ain't ever look good. You look good because you sit by mom. That's why you look good.
But and she said, I want you to go see Dr. Ross Camage at the University of Colorado Hospital. And they asked you because he was in cancer research. He's a doctor. I said, what you mean? He said, no, he is a lung cancer specialist.
Wow.
And I would like for you to go see him, because she started talking about what she saw. I said, yes, ma'am. I'd go out there, talk to someone, and come around the corner, here's Bonnie. Now, Mr. Baskett, you got to go see Ross. I said, yes, ma'am, I'm going. Little hug. I get to talk to somebody, come around this other way. Bonnie was there. Bonnie was going to make sure she reminded me enough that night that I was going to see the doctor.
There was no saying no.
No, ma'am. What was funny though, so we came back, we flew back in Monday, back to New Mexico. We're in Texas, and we have to drive to New Mexico. And about a couple of days later, I got a call from the University of Colorado Hospital. And they told me who had, and this is so on. And I'm calling from Dr. Camage's office. I'm thinking, ooh, Camage. And it hit me. I think Bonnie had over the weekend or somehow called Dr. Camage.
Look at that. But you know, I am just still so amazed, as our audience is, at how you were brought together with Ms. Bonnie Adario, and you just talked about how she got you to the doctors that have you here with us today. I wonder, Big Hank, if you could say anything to Bonnie right now, like what would you want to tell her?
Oh, there's so much stuff. You know what? I think just one, I would say, I love you.
Thanks.
I love you. Thanks. And I love you just more than
Hold
she'll ever know.
Hold on a second. I think you might be able to tell Bonnie that yourself, because we have a surprise for you. She is on the line. Hi, Miss Bonnie. How are you?
Well, I am fine. How are you?
Well, don't worry about me. I think
big hug having a little
the big hug and the little hug are reunited. Miss Judy, look at your face.
That's right.
Hey. This is
I don't want to make you cry, baby. I love you.
Oh, my baby.
Now you're making me cry. Stop it. Judy's crying, now we're all crying.
See what I'm talking about, my blessing? What do I have to worry about? What man said is in my chest. I'm blessed like this. What is that to worry about? I get these blessings.
Right.
Look at this.
So Big Hank, we got you. We got all of you.
Yes,
But
yes.
what a beautiful surprise. So now, prior to you coming on, Bonnie, I asked Big Hank, the big hug, what he would want to say to you if he had the chance.
I just want to say thanks, and I love you so much. You'll never know how much I love you and your family, those girls, all of them. I have, you are truly, truly one of the greatest blessings that God has put in my life.
Oh my God.
I love you more than you love me.
You had asked about Bonnie and how they got together.
Yes, please.
Pop may be the big hug. I'm the bigger hug, but Bonnie is this little itty bitty thing. Bonnie's this little itty bitty thing, but I will tell you what, the reason they were put together is because persistent wouldn't describe Bonnie. She believes that she will find a cure and that she will change this world, even though she's changing it every day. And as Pop said, that she looked at him and can tell he wasn't diagnosed properly.
Oh my goodness.
That is the attention to detail that Master Yoda over there knows. She can sense things in the universe.
Yep.
And when she's got a scent of the trail, she's not stopping until she finds that trail. And here's the amazing thing about her and her family. Just because they find the source of the scent, it's not the end of the trail. She has stood by our side since day one and guided. When cancer strikes somebody,
Yes.
nobody knows anything about it. It's like being a parent. Mm-hmm. You can read every book, but you don't know how to be a parent until you have kids. Bonnie has been, I can't speak for everyone else, but I'm pretty sure everybody that's Bonnie has touched would agree with me that she is like the all knowledge of wanting to guide. She is that spiritual guide that helps you through the battle of cancer, not just the people that are diagnosed, but the people around them.
Bonnie, not just this family, you've touched so many. Bonnie, what do you tell people when they're first diagnosed with lung cancer?
The first thing I tell them is, the first thing I ask them is what their treatment is. And I ask a lot of questions. And then more often than not, like I did with Hank, I knew he was not at a good place in his cancer journey. And I started to tell him about genomic profiling, and maybe he has a targeted marker, and he really needs to see somebody else just to get a second opinion, because those are always really good things to have. I mean, I literally hounded him. I called him. I started calling him once a month. Then I started calling him once every 2 weeks. Then it was once a week. And then it was almost daily. And he finally surrendered. He called his best friend and said, okay, I'm going up to the University of Colorado to see this doctor just to get this gal off my back. And sure enough, he had a targeted marker. He had the ALK mutation. And I mean, he went from hardly being able to walk, right, Judy? And after he had his visit with Dr. Kamich, and we discovered he had that marker, and he started taking the right formula for himself, his own very personal therapy. It was just such a joy to watch him get well. It really was just such a joy. And everybody loves this man.
Yes.
Crazy.
I'm seeing the sunshine right now in Hank, and have really enjoyed, as a fellow cancer survivor, have really enjoyed your book, The Living Room. And it's all about hope, Bonnie. It's all about hope. It's all about talking about what your foundation is doing. How do we impart hope to people that have been diagnosed?
Let me tell you what I love to say. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. So it's something that everybody is very personal to everyone. Hope comes to everyone in different ways. But when you have hope and love together, you're all good. You're all good. And this man over here, I'm pointing to you right now, big hug. He, is one of the most hopeful people I have ever met in my life. And he gives hope to people, and he gives them love. He gives them both of those things, and then they get better. So, and Judy is just the most wonderful wife anybody could have. And Hank, you're just amazing. Your whole family, ours, is,
It's the connection. It's that connection. It's that togetherness. It's that love.
There's no one that has more hope on this planet than Pop, but I can actually put Bonnie dead even with him. I've never said that to anybody, but Bonnie's right there. But the only person y'all need to talk to outside of Bonnie is my mom. She's sitting over there, and you can talk about things I did, talk about things that Bill did, and talk about things that so many other people have done. But that woman right there is the one that keeps everything going.
And once Judy found out about that Hank finally agreed to go get this other opinion, she started on a hopeful journey. It was the first time, I think, since he had been diagnosed with lung cancer that she was starting to become hopeful. So, to be part of this and to be part of being able to watch this is, why I do what I do. And I remember the day, Hank, you were having the golf tournament to raise funds for us for research. And I sat next to the big hug all day long because I'm not a golfer. And he was sad he couldn't golf. And we were all saying, don't even think about it, because he could hardly walk that day. But I sat next to him for the entire 18 holes. And I kept grilling him and talking about second opinions, because I knew if he didn't go, I was going to have to send an army to get him and drive him up there. So,
that army is sitting right beside him. Once Bonnie gave her the ammo, Mom just started firing away. You're going to do this, because Bonnie said so. And if Bonnie says so, I'm saying so, and you're going to do it.
He didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance.
That is amazing. A big old guy like Big Hank, you know that once Miss Judy puts down the hammer, that's it. And then supported by Miss Bonnie Adario.
Right.
I know that our audience has I feel like part of the family. Your essence, Big Hank, is amazing. For us to be talking about something so serious, but for us to now, we've been smiling through this whole show because of who you are. Tell our audience about how they might be able to find that hope for their health journey or whatever it is they're going through.
If you are living,
it's there in your soul.
There's hope. As long as you are alive and living, there's always hope. There have been people that had hope probably was on the deathbed and wrote them off and everything, and they've got up out of there because they believed there was hope.
And this is why I call him the big hug. And it happened on the very, very first day. And I said, you know, I'm not going to call you Hank. I'm just going to call you the Big Hug, because that's what he is. He has so much love for everyone around him. He's just, and I'm a hugger by nature as well. So I know one when I see one. And I said, I'm going to call you the Big Hug. And he said, well, I'll just call you the Little Hug. I said, that's good. That's good for me. That's good for me.
That is.
And every once in a while, like, you know, once a month, every couple months, my phone rings. And I pick it up, and he's just laughing. He's just laughing. He's laughing on the phone. I mean, of course, I know who it is, you know, but he's laughing right now. I mean, that's the Big Hug. I couldn't call him Hank. I had to call him the Big Hug.
That's my baby.
Oh, my goodness. Well, as I said at the beginning of this show, I bet everyone watching is convinced that you, Big Hank, are one of the most positive people on this planet. And I want to thank you on behalf of everyone of our audience for bringing your upbeat spirit here today. We need it so much now. And I want to thank everyone, Little Hank, Miss Judy, and certainly Miss Adario. Thank you for all you're doing with your foundation. The Little Hug. Thank you today for helping us spread the news. And as we've all witnessed through Big Hank and through all of our guests today, hope is always here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.